readers, welcome back to my channel. Lila Wanders and Reads, Lee here, and welcome to my weekend books. I have been having kind of a rough week in books. I feel like I'm in a slump, both reading-wise and creatively, so I've been trying to think about what to post for Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. I think I've got an inkling, but I don't know, maybe there's too much going on in the world. Who knows? Maybe it's the weather. But I'm going to talk to you about my weekend books. First, there are a couple things I want to talk about. One is really the most important. As you know, Hurricane Helene hit Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, and it really devastated Western North Carolina. I'm emphasizing that because I live in North Carolina, so I hear more about it, I see more about it. I'm not as aware or in tune to the other states. But this week, I learned that there are people deliberately posting false information, and from what it seems, it's so that they can badmouth the government and make the government look bad. The government has its faults. I don't know what somebody gains with lying about that. And it's really discouraging to see. That said, I want to move on to the bright side. There are a lot of people in North Carolina and elsewhere who are really giving their all to send aid and provide aid to those in need. I order quarterly. I get a box from a place called Bravo Steaks. I started following them in 2020. They are local farmers. I think they're up in the Greensboro area, so they're closer to Western North Carolina than I am. This past week, Bravo Steaks set up requests for donations. They donated 250 pounds of ground beef on their own, and they requested for their customers to, if they wanted to, give as well. I did twice, and I think the first batch was over 1,300 pounds of ground beef. I don't have my phone in front of me, but that is a way you can contribute. There are local people who are above board, who are doing their best to provide aid. Emily also posted pictures of them delivering the meat to, I think, Baptists on Mission, who they're working with to get the aid where it needs to go. And there are a number of other organizations finding ways to help and provide adequate help, not grifters. So that is encouraging. That is what I'm trying to focus on right now. It's just devastating, the loss of life, the loss of property, the fact that a lot of people don't have flood insurance because it's the mountains. It's just really devastating. If you can find a legitimate way to give, I highly encourage it. Every little bit helps. On another note, speaking of flooding, although this is a little bit lighter-ish, my local Barnes & Nobles is closed because they were doing bathroom renovations and a pipe ruptured or burst. I don't know if they're open right now still. It's been days. So best wishes to them trying to recover from that. I've had actually not a pipe burst, knock on wood. I had my toilet tank crack, and it went for 20 minutes before I realized I was hearing something weird. So I know flooding in your home or in a store can also be a little bit devastating. Now, back to books. Again, I said I've been in a little bit of a slump. Some of these I may have covered in my September book recap, reading recap. I think I did, because this past week had some September and some October in it. So I started out the week with The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is kind of YA, and it is a fun read. It was very fun. I am going to continue the series. I don't like to do series back to back to back, but this was a fun read. It was light. It was easy to read, and after all the bad news coming out about the hurricane, this really was welcome. Next, I went for The Prom of Miss Jean Brodie, and I thought that this was, I don't want to spoil too much, but I thought that the main focus of this book was the fact that she was a fascist or a fascist sympathizer. It's really not. And it's kind of funny to look at it from a feminist point of view, where what they were really wanting to get her on was the fact that she had sex and was unapologetic about it. So, it was okay. It was okay. I guess I'm missing something. Or again, this may be. There was a shit ton of news and not all of it was good. And so it just was okay for me. Another okay book was the Crypt of the Moon Spider by Nathan Ballingrud. This was okay. It was short. It just... Again, I think it's me. I think it's me because I started to read another book, which my friend said, this was toward the end of the week, which my friend said was a 5-star read for her, and I couldn't get into it, so I picked up something else. But that's not now. Next up was a real disappointment for me. I read Murder on the Red River, a Cash Black Bear mystery by Marcie R. Rendon, and I really wanted to like it. And when I dislike a book, I try to look in at myself, and is it prejudices on my part? Is it something in me that's the problem? But here's the thing about this, and I'll be honest with you. I'm a smoker, and I am trying to not smoke so much and maybe eventually quit. But all Cash does in this book is chain smoke cigarettes, buy cigarettes, look for her cigarettes, pick up a crumpled piece of a cigarette and finish smoking that. And I had done really well for 2 days, and this book set me back. I'm not much on trigger warnings, but if you took out all the times where Cash was looking for her cigarettes, picking up her cigarettes, or smoking, it'd be probably that much of the book. I don't know, but it was all the time. There is not a scene where that does not occur. And it really, it was so distracting that I really couldn't get to the core of the story, and at the end I didn't care because I wanted a cigarette. So, I will not be moving on with that series. I do have another Marcie R. Rendon that I will be looking at, and I swear if that character smokes that much, I'm going to put it down. It's not that she does it, it's that it's all the time. Every scene has that in it, and it's really unnecessary. On the positive side, Ashley Herring Blake is now an auto-buy. I loved Make the Season Bright. I wrote, do you ever find yourself rooting for the bad guy? Bright, in here, isn't the bad guy in this, even though she left her fiancé at the altar. Bright opens herself up as a character to the reader and to her friends, whereas Lola, Charlotte in this, kept herself closed off, and you felt it. I actually liked Bright more than Charlotte, but it's a romance, so it has a happy ever after or a happy for now. So I do recommend this. If you've read any other Ashley Herring Blake, this is delightful. It was Christmassy. It gave me some joy. And then, so that was 4 books. Really, 2 of them were very short. So this one, I ended on a high note, and then it became Friday. And again, I picked up a book that my colleague and friend said was a 5-star read. I got maybe 11 pages into it, and I was just distracted. I couldn't go on. It's nothing about the book. I'm sure I will pick it up later, and it will be great or fine or whatever, but I just could not go on with it. So, on Paramount, I believe, there's a new movie out called Apartment 7A, and it is a prequel to Rosemary's Baby, and I've seen some critiques of it on Twitter and social media. So, yesterday afternoon, I sat down to watch Rosemary's Baby, which I have not seen, and I got probably a good 10-20 minutes into the movie, And that's when I decided to put down the other book and pick up Rosemary's Baby by Ira Levin. This is what I'm reading now. I'm this far in. This will be one of next week's books. So far, it stays really close to the movie. I'm only 5 chapters in. One thing I like about both the Stepford Wives, which I read and watched earlier this year, and Rosemary's Baby, I don't know about the book yet, but I like the way Ira Levin ends it not as a happy ever after. It's kind of wonderful. It's kind of wonderful. There's not a happy ever after. It's just, this is my life now in both books, or both movies so far. So I'm really looking forward to finishing this. Alrighty. On the nonfiction side, which I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to read my nonfiction moving forward, because somebody made a comment about it, and I guess some people don't like people reading. Anyway, I'm reading That Librarian, speaking of some people don't like other people reading That Librarian by Amanda Jones, The Fight Against Book Banning in America. The events she describes in here take place in southeast Louisiana. It's an area I'm familiar with. I lived outside of Lafayette for a while, probably about 6 to 9 months after I got out of the Army. And again, I will tell you more about this, but I'm going to have to figure out my reading moving forward. On the audiobook side, I am listening to Out There Screaming by Jordan Peele, an anthology of new black horror. I don't love all of these, but this is the way for me. Moving forward, this is the way I'm going to consume short stories, because I can do a short story, I can turn it off, listen to some music, and then I can go back to the next short story next time I get in the car. And most of these are like 30 minutes long, 40 minutes long. And so this is the 3rd short story collection I've done on Audible. I've got another one already picked out for next month or whenever I finish this. But it is a pleasure. I love to read short stories that way, and I can't read them back to back physically. Anywho, like I said, I'm kind of in a slump, not having the greatest reading week, creative week. I think I'm going to work on that. I think that probably what kicked it off, in addition to everything else, the hurricane and other things, I think that this book really kind of spoiled everything in me for the week, because I really wanted to like it, but it was just, a book should be about more than smoking, and it was, but it was just bashing you in the face with it over and over and over. And I'm not opposed to characters who smoke. It is a thing. People do it. I just don't want to read about it like that. Anywho, I hope that you've had a better week than I have, and I hope you have a happy reading week. I'm hoping that Rosemary's Baby will kind of flip things for me and get me back in the groove again. If you have the means, please find some place to donate to help some of the survivors from the hurricane. Also, there is another hurricane forming in the Gulf of Mexico right now, Milton, and it looks like it's headed towards Tampa, the Tampa area, and Florida, which was also hit by Helene, and really this could be devastating for them as well. That's it for me. Sorry for all the down stuff. Happy reading.